January does not arrive with applause. It comes quietly, carrying the same sun, the same struggles, and the same unanswered questions. Yet within this ordinary moment lives an extraordinary opportunity, the chance to decide who we will become. The turning of a calendar does not erase our pain, our failures, or our fears, but it offers us something far more powerful, the right to choose again. Many believe a new year must immediately bring success, clarity, and victory. But history has taught us a deeper truth. Real change does not announce itself loudly. It begins with a silent decision in the heart, a decision to stand up after falling, to hope after disappointment, and to move forward even when the road ahead remains uncertain. January does not promise an easy path. It invites us to walk a meaningful one. To reset is not to forget the past, but to refuse to be imprisoned by it. The past may explain us, but it must never define us. We carry lessons, not chains. When we release bitterness and self-blame, we reclaim our strength. A reset is an act of courage, the courage to say, I am more than what has happened to me. To restart is to honor the belief that our story is not finished. Starting again requires humility, patience, and faith. It demands that we accept progress may be slow, yet still worthy. The greatest victories in life are often born not from speed, but from perseverance. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a declaration that we refuse to surrender our dreams. And to refocus is to remember why we began. In a world that demands urgency, we must choose purpose. When our vision is clear and our values steady, we move with dignity and resolve. This January, let us not rush to prove ourselves to the world. Let us commit to becoming stronger, wiser, and more united. One day, one decision, one brave step at a time. January is not a miracle that descends upon us with instant solutions. It is a moment, quiet, honest, and demanding. It asks nothing of us except one thing: to choose. The calendar changes for everyone, but progress belongs only to those who decide to act with courage and intention. A new year does not transform a life by magic. It simply presents a doorway. Whether we remain standing outside or step through it is a matter of will. Too often we wait for January to rescue you, to erase our disappointments and reward us without effort. But history teaches us that no season, no date, and no promise can do the work that belongs to the human spirit. Change begins not with celebration, but with responsibility. It begins when we accept that our future will not be shaped by hope alone, but by disciplined choices made day after day, even when no one is watching. January off. As a pause, a rare moment to reflect honestly. It invites us to look at who we were without shame and who we wish to become without fear. The past year may have tested our strength, challenged our patience, and exposed our weaknesses. Yet within those struggles lie lessons of resilience. We are not diminished by what we have endured. We are prepared by it to walk forward through this door. We must carry courage as our companion. Courage to forgive ourselves for unfinished goals. Courage to release habits that no longer serve our growth. Courage to believe that even now, even after setbacks, our efforts still matter. Progress is not the absence of difficulty, it is the decision to continue despite it. This moment does not demand perfection, it demands commitment. The world is anged not by sudden miracles, but by ordinary people making extraordinary decisions to persist. One honest effort today becomes the foundation of strength tomorrow. One disciplined choice becomes a habit. One habit becomes a life. January reminds us that time itself is neutral. It neither helps nor hinders us. What gives time meaning is purpose. When we align our actions with our values, even the smallest step forward carries dignity. We do not need to move fast. We need to move true. Direction matters more than speed. Let us therefore step into this moment with clarity. Let us not wait for ideal conditions, for they rarely arrive. Let us begin where we are, with what we have, and with the determination to do better than before. The doorway of January is open, but it will not remain open forever. Moments pass, opportunities fade, but decisions endure. This is our moment, not to wish but to work, not to dream alone but to act with resolve. If we step forward today with courage, patience, and purpose, we will discover that the true miracle was never January itself, but the strength we chose to awaken within us. Before we attempt to change our circumstances, we must first change the way we carry ourselves within them. True freedom does not begin with power, position, or applause. It begins in the mind. A mind burdened by resentment, fear, and self-doubt cannot walk far, even on an open road. To move forward into a new beginning, we must first lay down the invisible weights we have been carrying for far too long. Many of us step into a new year still imprisoned by old though. We replay our failures, rehearse our regrets, and punish ourselves for moments we cannot undo. Yet no nation, no individual has ever built a hopeful future while chained to yesterday's pain. The past has lessons to teach us, but it must never become a life sentence. When we allow old wounds to govern our present, we surrender our power without a struggle. Resetting the mind is not an act of denial. It is an act of courage. It requires us to look honestly at what has hurt us and decide that pain will not have the final word. Resentment may feel like strength, but in truth, it is a quiet exhaustion. Self-doubt may feel realistic, but it slowly steals our confidence. To release these burdens is not weakness. It is discipline of the highest order. There will always be voices both within and around us that remind us of what went wrong. But leadership over one's life begins when we choose which voices deserve authority. We must learn to speak to ourselves with fairness, with truth, and with hope. A mind that believes in possibility will find paths where others see walls. When we reset our thinking, we reclaim responsibility for our future. We no longer wait to be saved by circumstances or defeated by them. We understand that while we may not control every event, we can always control our response. That understanding is freedom in its purest form. This inner work is not quick, and it is not easy. Releasing old habits of thought takes patience and persistence. There will be days when doubt returns and fear knocks loudly. But each time we choose clarity over chaos, purpose over bitterness, we strengthen our resolve. Each small victory within the mind prepares us for greater victories in the world. A society changes only when individuals change how they think, how they forgive, and how they hope. The same is true for a life. When we reset the mind, we open space for wisdom, for compassion, and for renewed strength. We become capable not only of dreaming again, but acting with integrity and resolve. Let this be the season where we do the quiet work that no one applauds but everyone benefits from. Let us free our minds from yesterday's failures so that tomorrow has room to grow. For when the mind is liberated, the spirit follows. And a person who is free within cannot be permanently defeated by anything outside. Starting again is often misunderstood. Many see it as proof of failure. as if returning to the beginning erases all progress made before. But in truth, restarting is one of the bravest decisions a human being can make. It requires humility. The humility to accept that the path we chose did not lead us where we hoped, and the wisdom to believe that a better path still exists ahead. There is no shame in beginning again. History does not honor those who never fell. It honors those who rose each time they were tested. Every meaningful journey includes moments where we must pause, reflect, and choose to continue with greater understanding. A restart is not a retreat. It is a recalibration of purpose, guided by lessons earned through experience. Regret has a way of disguising itself as reflection. It whispers that we should have known better, acted faster, or chosen differently. But regret, when carried too long, becomes a burden that slows our steps. Humility, on the other hand, lightens the load. It allows us to acknowledge mistakes without being defined by them. It teaches us that growth often begins where pride ends. To restart with humility is to accept responsibility without self-destruction. It is to say, I have learned, rather than I have failed. It is to recognize that wisdom is not born from perfection, but from perseverance. Each attempt refines our character. Each setback strengthens our discipline. Each restart sharpens our vision. There will be moments when starting again feels lonely. The applause fades, expectations fall silent, and progress appears slow. But it is in these quiet moments that character is formed. True strength does not require an audience. It is built in consistency, patience, and the willingness to continue even when recognition is absent. A humble restart reminds us that no effort is wasted when it is guided by purpose. Even paths that did not succeed have prepared us for the road ahead. They have taught us resilience, clarity, and restraint. What once felt like loss becomes preparation. What once felt like delay becomes direction. Discipline is the companion of humility. Starting again demands structure, commitment, and faith in daily action. Not dramatic promises, but steady habits. Not grand declarations, but quiet discipline. Progress does not ask us to be perfect, it asks us to be persistent. When we restart without regret, we free ourselves from the weight of comparison. We stop measuring our lives against timelines that were never meant for us. We understand that growth unfolds differently for each person, and that dignity lies not in speed, but in sincerity of effort. Let us therefore begin again, not with bowed heads, but with steady hearts. Let us restart with humility that learns, with discipline that endures, and with belief that our journey is not yet complete. For a person willing to begin again with courage and patience carries within them the power to build a future wiser, stronger, and more meaningful than anything left behind, in a world that demands constant movement, noise, and urgency. It is easy to confuse pressure with purpose. We are taught to run faster, to achieve more, and to measure our worth by how quickly we arrive. Yet progress, in its truest form, has never been about speed. It has always been about direction. A life rushed without purpose may travel far, but it rarely arrives where it truly belongs. Pressure speaks loudly. It tells us we are late, behind, and not enough. It compares our journey to others and convinces us that rest is weakness and reflection is delay. But pressure is impatient, and impatience is a poor guide. Purpose, by contrast, speaks quietly. It does not shout, it endures. It reminds us why we began, what we stand for, and who we hope to serve through our efforts. To refocus is not to withdraw from responsibility, but to reclaim clarity. When our actions are driven only by urgency, we lose sight of meaning. We become busy without becoming effective. Purpose gives weight to our actions. It allows us to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. It anchors us when the world pulls us in too many directions at once. There will always be expectations placed upon us by society, by family, by CI, circumstance. Some of these expectations are fair, others heavy. But when we live only to satisfy pressure, we surrender our inner compass. Purpose restores that compass. It ensures that even when progress is slow, it is honest. Even when the road is long, it is worthy. A focused life is not one free of difficulty. It is one guided by values that do not change with convenience. Values give us piety. When results are delayed, they give us courage when resistance appears. They remind us that lasting impact is built over time, not demanded overnight. Temporary motivation can inspire a beginning, but it cannot sustain a journey. Motivation rises and falls like the tide. Purpose remains when enthusiasm fades. It carries us through days of doubt, through moments when recognition is absent and outcomes are uncertain. A person driven by purpose does not stop when applause ends, because their commitment was never dependent on applause. Refocusing requires discipline. It asks us to step back, to evaluate where our energy is spent, and to realign our efforts with our principles. It may require letting go of paths that look impressive but lead nowhere meaningful. It may require patience, and others seem to move ahead. But no effort aligned with purpose is ever wasted. History remembers those who stood firm in direction, not those who merely moved fast. Meaningful change, whether in a nation or a single life, is achieved by steady focus, guided by conviction. When we choose purpose over pressure, we choose depth over noise, direction over haste, and integrity over exhaustion. Let us, therefore, move forward with clarity, not chaos. Let us measure our progress not by how fast we run, but by how faithfully we walk our chosen path. For a life guided by purpose will endure challenges, outlast trends, and leave behind a legacy far greater than any hurried success ever could. No individual walks the road of renewal alone. Every meaningful journey forward is shaped by those who walk beside us, support us, and remind us of our shared humanity. The road ahead, especially at the beginning of a new year, may appear long and uncertain, but history has shown us that endurance is strongest when it is collective. Progress achieved together carries a strength that no solitary effort can match. There will be moments when the path feels heavy, moments when patience is tested and persevered feels exhausting. In such times, it is unity that sustains us. Unity does not mean uniformity. It means respect, cooperation, and the recognition that our individual efforts gain power when aligned with a common purpose. When we walk forward together, no burden is carried by one person alone. The temptation in difficult times is to retreat into isolation, to believe that survival depends solely on individual strength. Yet the greatest advances in human dignity have always been achieved through shared resolve. Step by step, people who believed in one another transformed hardship into hope, not through haste, but through steady commitment to justice, compassion, and perseverance. Walking together requires patience. Not everyone moves at the same pace, and not everyone begins from the same place. True leadership is not measured by how far ahead one stands, but by the willingness to slow down so that others are not left behind. A society, like a journey, advances most effectively when it advances together. The road will not always be smooth. There will be disagreements, setbacks, and moments of fatigue. But perseverance is not the absence of struggle. It is the refusal to abandon one another when struggle appears. When we choose to continue together, even in disagreement, we strengthen the foundation of trust that progress depends upon. Dignity must guide every step we take. Progress that sacrifices dignity is temporary and fragile, but progress built on mutual respect endures. When we honor one another's worth, we create space for cooperation, healing, and lasting change. Dignity reminds us that how we move forward matters just as much as how far we go. The new year does not ask us to perform miracles overnight. It asks us to remain committed when results are slow and recognition is scarce. It asks us to show up day after day for the work that matters. Each step forward, however small, becomes significant when taken with integrity and shared purpose. Let us remember that perseverance is strengthened by hope, and hope is multiplied when shared. When one person grows weary, another offers strength. When one loses clarity, another provides perspective. This exchange is the quiet power of unity. As we move forward into this new beginning, let us choose cooperation over division, patience over haste, and resolve over despair. The road may be long, but it is walkable, and when we walk it together with humility, dignity, and unwavering commitment, we transform distance into progress, struggle into strength, and the future into something worthy of those who will follow.